Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Yeah, always ready to dive in.
Awesome. So, today we're tackling something I think we can all relate to, especially if you're a student, or maybe you just have to take a big test for work. We're talking about exam prep.
Oh yeah, exam prep. We've all been there.
And to help us navigate this, we've got this article. It's called, hold on, Exam Prep Tip 3, Utilizing Effective Study Techniques for Optimal Exam Preparation.
Catchy title.
Right. So basically, we're going to break down the best study techniques from this article and give you guys some real strategies that work.
Yeah, because who doesn't want to feel super confident and prepared walking into an exam, right?
Exactly. No more last-minute cramming freakouts.
No way.
Okay, so the article kicks off with this idea of active learning. And it's funny because I remember back in the day, I thought active learning meant highlighting every single word in my textbook.
Oh yeah, the sea of yellow highlighters. Been there.
Totally. But it turns out active learning is so much more than that.
It really is. It's about engaging with the material, really getting your brain working. It's more about understanding than just memorizing.
Right, making those connections.
Exactly. And a big part of that is this concept called active recall. Have you heard of that?
I have. Isn't that trying to remember information without looking at your notes?
Yeah. Instead of just rereading your textbook or your notes over and over again, you're actively challenging your brain to pull the information from memory.
So it's like quizzing yourself.
Exactly. And it's super powerful because it forces your brain to work harder. And the more you do it, the stronger those neural pathways become, which means better memory retention in the long run.
Okay, so that makes total sense. But how do you actually, do active recall? What are some practical ways to implement that?
Oh, there are tons of ways. The article actually gives some great examples. One simple thing is to try summarizing the information in your own words.
Oh, pretend you're explaining it to somebody else.
Exactly. And you could actually explain it to somebody else too. Or even just talk it out loud to yourself. I know it sounds a little crazy, but...
Well, I've heard of people explaining things to their pets, so why not?
Exactly. No judgment here. And it really works because when you teach something, even to a rubber duck, you have to organize your thoughts and make sure you understand it well enough to explain it clearly.
Yeah, and it's you're kind of becoming the teacher in that moment, which probably helps you remember it better.
For sure. And then there are other techniques like flashcards, creating practice questions, or even making mind maps.
Mind maps, those are awesome for visualizing information and seeing those connections, right?
Absolutely. They can be super helpful for remembering complex topics.
All right, so active learning, definitely a game changer. But let's be real, there's this other little monster we have to deal with when it comes to studying.
Yeah.
And that monster's name is procrastination.
Oh, yeah, procrastination. Everyone's favorite study buddy, right?
Definitely not my favorite.
Yeah.
Any tips for conquering that beast?
Well, the article emphasizes the importance of time management, which I know can be tough. But the key takeaway here is that consistent review, even in short bursts, is way more effective than cramming everything in at the last minute.
Yeah, cramming never really worked for me. It's you get all this information jammed in your head, but it just kind of leaks out as soon as the test is over.
Exactly. And that's because you haven't really given your brain time to process and retain the information.
So what's a better approach then?
Well, one technique the article mentions that I really like is the Pomodoro technique.
Pomodoro.
Yeah.
Like the tomato.
Yes. It's named after those cute little kitchen timers. So basically, you set a timer for 25 minutes of focused study, and then you take a 5-minute break. And you repeat that cycle.
Okay, so it's like interval training for your brain. I like that. But 25 minutes, sometimes I feel like my concentration span's about 5 minutes, tops.
I hear you. And it's totally okay to adjust the time intervals to what works for you. You could even start with 10 or 15-minute chunks of focus time.
That feels a little less intimidating for sure.
The main point is to find a rhythm that helps you stay focused and avoid burnout. And those regular breaks are so important for letting your brain rest and recharge.
Yeah, and it's kind of like training yourself to stay on track, right? You're building up that focus muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more you practice, the better you get at it.
All right, so we've got active learning, time management. What else is in our arsenal of exam-crushing strategies?
Well, speaking of practice, the article really emphasizes the importance of, practice, specifically practice tests.
Oh yeah, practice tests were always my secret weapon. I felt like they really helped me get a feel for the actual exam.
They're so valuable. Not only do they familiarize you with the format and types of questions you might encounter, but they also help you identify any areas where you need to focus your studying.
It's like you're taking the mystery out of the exam. You know what to expect, and you've already practiced those thought processes.
Exactly. And each practice test you take builds your confidence and helps reduce those pre-exam jitters.
No more walking into the exam room feeling like a deer in headlights.
Exactly. You've got this.
All right, so we've got our study techniques down. We're managing our time. We're practicing like champs. What's the final piece of the puzzle here?
The article also talks about something that's often overlooked but super important, and that's setting the stage for success, creating a study environment that actually supports your learning.
Oh, yeah, I totally get that.
Hmm.
I can't focus if my study space is a total disaster zone.
Right. It's all about minimizing distractions and creating a space where you can really concentrate.
So what are some key elements of a good study environment?
Well, first of all, make sure it's a comfortable space. Good lighting is essential, and so is having a desk or table where you can spread out your materials.
And what about, like, noise? I know some people prefer total silence while others need a little background noise.
It totally depends on what works best for you. Some people find that listening to calming music or white noise can help them focus, while others need absolute silence. The key is to experiment and find what helps you tune out distractions.
I know for me, I have this weird thing where I have to have a specific scent going while I study. Like I'll light a certain candle or use an essential oil diffuser.
I love that. It's all
Right.
about creating a positive and focused vibe.
Right. It's like setting the mood for learning. But what about like the bigger picture? I mean, we can have the perfect study space, but if we're running on fumes from lack of sleep and junk food, it's not going to matter much, right?
You're so right. And the article touches on this too. Taking care of your overall well-being is just as important as any study technique.
So we're talking like sleep, nutrition, exercise, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Sleep deprivation can seriously impair your cognitive function, so make sure you're getting enough rest. And nourish your brain with healthy foods. Avoid those sugary snacks and processed foods that can lead to energy crashes.
And exercise. I always feel like I have zero time for that when I'm studying.
I know it can be tough to squeeze in, but even a short walk or some light stretching can make a huge difference in your energy levels and focus. It's like giving your brain a refresh.
So it's like we're treating our brains like athletes training for a big game.
Exactly. You wouldn't fuel an athlete with junk food and expect them to perform at their best, right?
Right. It's all about giving your brain what it needs to succeed.
That's the key takeaway here.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of all the awesome exam prep strategies we've covered today. We talk about active learning techniques like summarizing information, teaching concepts to others, and using flashcards or mind maps.
And we emphasize the importance of time management, ditching the cramming habit, and trying out techniques like the Pomodoro technique to stay focused and avoid burnout.
We also talked about the power of practice tests for building confidence and identifying knowledge gaps.
And we can't forget about creating a conducive study environment, minimizing distractions, and taking care of your overall well-being with enough sleep, healthy food, and exercise.
So much good stuff. I feel like I need to take notes on our own deep dive.
Me too. But seriously, remember, effective studying isn't just about passing an exam. It's about really understanding and mastering the material. It's about building that knowledge and those skills that you can carry with you beyond the test.
Totally. And honestly, even if you're not facing a big exam right now, these strategies can be applied to learning anything new. So think about it. What's one small change you can make to your own learning routine based on what we've talked about today?
Yeah, what's one thing you can implement to level up your learning game?
Awesome. Well, we believe in you. Go out there and crush it.
You got this.